Oh, you happy people. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to The Mole Hole with the hardest working sports announcer in St. Louis. He's Randy Molman, and the show starts now. Good morning, St. Louis, and welcome to the Mole Hole. We are all over the world at 8 a.m. this morning Central Time. My name's Randy Molman. We're now on a new Facebook video outlet. You those of you who watch me on YouTube, if you have Facebook, you can also click over to Johnny Rabbit on Facebook. Go follow the Johnny Rabbit Facebook page, right? That's the KXOK Facebook page. Mark Langston is here. Mark, explain the Johnny Rabbit reference to those who don't know.
Oh, so Johnny Rabbit was the big disc jockey, the DJ, back in the very early, probably 1960, 61. And he was in St. Louis for years.
And he is synonymous.
Right.
With KXOK.
He would be like the George Washington of KXOK. It's the best way I could say. He's like the founding disc jockey, one of those guys.
Love it.
So everybody, I don't know, it's just a mess out there in Facebook land. But so Johnny Rabbit, and it's KXOK. You'll see the KXOK logo. So, and I think if you go to the Randy Molman Facebook page, it's being restreamed there. So
yes, I have just shared the Johnny Rabbit Facebook page this morning, right before the show started.
Good.
So now people can go there. It might be easier. Yeah. Sometimes, every week, especially people who are hovering around my age group that want to listen to the show. How do I find the show? Where's my transistor radio? I want to listen in.
Now let me tell you, we are working on our very own app. We're on the iHeartRadio app. We're on the Odyssey Radio, which owns KMOX. We're on that app. We're on, TuneIn app, all these apps, for crying out loud. But we are in the process of developing our own very own app for KXOK, so that you'll have it right there on your phone, and you just click it, or on your TV, on your Roku, and just click it, and you'll be there. It'll be easier than even turning the radio on and tuning it in.
But how do I add apps to my phone, Mark?
I know, it's never going to end, is it?
Do I go to the Play Store?
Yes, you'll have to do that.
That's what I do to my kids now. Like if it's like a modern thing that I'm trying to figure out, I'll go, "Hey kids, I don't know what I'm doing." We got some sports stuff to talk about today.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, I want to say I got a lot of feedback last week on my show about my story and my background and growing up with deaf parents. And
don't start again.
I got several people who
really
reached out to me afterwards directly and said, "Hey, that was pretty cool. I didn't know that." Look, there's people who know me and have known me for years who know the story, but there was a lot of people who I've become friends with over the last decade who. So that was very nice. So thank everybody I want to thank everybody for tuning in.
Your story still moves me to this day.
I know it's that story about my dad that
gets
you every time. Do you want me to say it again? You want me to do that?
Gosh darn it, no. I did, and I listened to it, and I can't. Yeah,
I know. I appreciate that.
Well, you don't have to appreciate it. It's being a dad.
It is.
You're a dad. I just.
Oh yeah.
I can feel. See,
I know it's the pride.
You're getting me all going again.
All right.
I mean,
here's what happened, Mark.
I think about the last time I held my son in my arms. It's that kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
When you don't know when it's the last time you're going to be able to pick him up and hold him.
Every milestone your kids hit, you think back to all the little things that you remember when, of course. Okay.
And you had we're
going down this
very
road.
Special parents you did.
Well, my dad was very special.
Okay.
There's a whole.
Okay.
That's a whole. I'll spend an hour one day talking about the other part of my life, which wasn't great. But all right. First of all, before we get it, we're going to talk Cardinals baseball today. You and I said before the season, Mark, there's potential that this could be a fun team to watch, whether they win or lose.
Yep.
Could be a fun team to watch.
Yep.
They've started the season winning more than they're losing. I mean, that might not last, but they have been fun to watch. And we're going to talk about that. They're throwing it back a little bit. They're playing small ball. They're bunting. They're playing defense. They're sacrificing. They're winning one-run games. They're 5-0 in one-run games.
You don't have to hit a home run every time you go to the plate, do you?
Victor Scott apparently worked on the bunt in the offseason. Several bunt singles. The what? I know, like the modern baseball fans like, what? Bunting? That's an automatic out. No, it isn't.
No.
Because Victor Scott's super fast. So he's a left-handed hitter, so he gets out of the box. All right, I'm jumping in the Cardinals early. I want to talk about them, but let's wait.
All right.
Cardinals. They're fun. They're fun. Again, they're not going to make the playoffs, most likely.
Well,
they're too young.
I'm worried about a strike. I'm starting to hear
in 2027, and that, boy, would that kill the momentum of the rebuild, wouldn't it?
I'm really starting to hear that it's probably.
Oh, it's imminent.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's going to happen.
You said it.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, that's the bummer.
Everything I hear, it's going to happen.
Yeah, but until then, we're going to love it.
Enjoy it. All right. Before we get, I'll break down more Cardinal talk soon. I want to get to, because we're right in the middle now of college basketball portal season. The portal's open. To remind you, Anthony Robinson for Mizzou in the portal, T.O. Barrett in the portal. I was surprised about T.O. Barrett. I thought he had fought to earn that starting spot mid-season. And he did a lot of good things during the season for the Tigers. And I thought, I'm surprised he's in the portal. Sebastian Mack is in the portal. He played in non-conference, didn't play much during the conference season. That doesn't surprise me. And Jacob Cruz is fighting for a hardship so that he can have one more college season. And he's in the portal. But the Tigers have landed 2 portal players. Jameer Jones, who is an all-freshman on the all-freshman team for Providence, and Jalen Carey from Tennessee, both wing players. Jalen Carey is a 6'7", 225-pound wing who is a rebounding machine. And the Tigers needed a player like him. These 2 guys, one of my buddies on our text chain, he said he's read about both of these guys. They're like junkyard dog type players. Like they're strong. Their styles are different, but Jalen Carey, I think, was top 10 in the nation in offensive rebound percentage as a junior at Tennessee last year. By the way, this is his 5th stop. Mizzou will be his 5th team. I think 4th or 5th, maybe 4th. But Jalen Carey, so I'm excited about this guy because the Tigers had some issues down the stretch, rebounding, especially on the offensive glass and second chance points. And when you have guards coming in like Jason Crow, who are scorers, you want to get them second chances. Jalen Carey. Trent Pierce is coming back, by the way. He said he was coming back, which is good. Jameer Jones is a slasher, up and down the floor player, 6'6", freshman, which means he'll have eligibility left when he gets here. All freshman team at Providence, 6'6", 210. And I've watched some highlights of him. This guy, so I said Jalen Carey, 6'7", 225. He's like thicker. Jameer Jones, 6'6". He's a thick 210, but he's also like very smooth in the offensive game. He's one of those guys that wants to run the floor all the time. That's what he did at Providence. By the way, he played for our old friend at Mizzou, Kim English, who was Providence's head coach. Anyway, this guy, exciting young player and a wing player to go. Again, this recruiting class is guard heavy. And you're hoping Aaron Rowe, who was a redshirt guard recruited out of Columbia, one of the top recruits in the state. He redshirted last year. You hope he's coming back. So you're assembling a bunch of young guards. Now you gotta recruit some wings, and you got to recruit a center or another power forward, a 5, somewhere around that 7-foot tall rim protector type player. And you probably need a veteran guard. You have a lot of young guards. You probably need to go get a veteran guard. So, but what a great start. These 2 wing players. You got a couple of guys who rebound, and Jameer Jones is one of those slasher, drive to the basket types. You love to see 2 players like this. So I'm going to see if I can pull up their statistics here real quick. Jameer Jones this year at Providence. Okay, this is great radio. 11.9 points a game as a freshman. So 12 points a game, 4.5 rebounds, and 1.5 assists. And he shot, because this guy's a dunking machine, gets up, drives to the basket, shot 57% from the field for the Friars. And he started 19 games as a freshman. Free throw percentage, okay, 66%. But offensive rebounds a game, about 1.5 and 4.5 rebounds. And he gets about a steal a game as well. So this is, and by the way, he didn't shoot a ton of threes, but the threes he shot, he was almost 40% from 3-point range, which is a great number. So really like adding him. Jalen Carey's numbers for Tennessee. Last year, not a big scorer from the wing. As we said, big guy. But 6 rebounds a game, shot 49% from the field. He only started 8 games. So he was a bench guy for Tennessee last year. Coming off the bench, played about 19.5 minutes or 19 minutes a game. And again, the offensive rebounds, he had a total of 222 rebounds last year. 103 of them were on the offensive glass. He played at James Madison his freshman year, Vanderbilt his sophomore year, and then Tennessee last year. So he's, as my buddy says, he's one of those junkyard dog guys. And the Tigers need a wing who can rebound. Big, strong wing who can rebound. And that was a good get for Coach Gates. So I'm excited about those 2 guys. Now, the Mizzou basketball recruiting class, let me remind you. The basketball recruiting class for Mizzou. Let me see if I can find it here. Here it is. Mizzou, by the way, has a top 10 recruiting class coming in. Jason Crow is 5-star recruit, and some have him ranked as the number 1 player in the country. He's coming to Mizzou. He's got some have him ranked as the number one player at his position. Some have him as the number one player in the country, but most have him in the top 10 for sure. McDonald's All-American. Set the California high school scoring record. 6'3" guard. Tony Bryant, 6'9", also a McDonald's All-American. Some have him ranked a 5-star recruit, top 20 player nationally. Then they have this shooter, 6'7" shooter, Aiden Chronister from Arkansas. By the way, right in the middle of Fayetteville, Arkansas, where the campus of the University of Arkansas is, and this kid's coming to Mizzou. I love it. Those are the top 3 recruits that Mizzou has coming in. And Chronister's just one of those big swing or wing players that can shoot. So with these guards coming in and hopefully Aaron Rose staying and adding guys like Jameer Jones and Jalen Carey, the Tigers are off and running for this offseason and in the portal. Now I'm interested to see, because I know they're in on the big man from Kansas, and his name is escaping me, but the Tigers are in on a Kansas big man. A player from Kansas has never transferred to Missouri. Never happened. So could the Tigers, because he's a big, you get a big in there and then you go get a couple of veteran guards. Now we're talking. And by the way, Jason Crow, this kid that's coming, this kid is a scoring machine. When you could score at that high level in high school, it doesn't take long for you to adapt to the college game. There's a lot of people who think if he lights up Mizzou this year, that he'll be a one-and-done player and he'll go to the NBA.
Where's he from again?
California. SoCal. Leading scorer in the history of the state of California for a high school career.
What did we do to get him?
Well,
I don't care.
There is an NIL fund.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. Anyway.
It's going to be fun to watch.
It's going to be fun to watch.
It really is.
By the way, the Mizzou women got a recruit. Hold on, I'll pull that up too. They got a recruit to come back to Missouri. She was at Indiana this year as a freshman. Nevaeh Coffey, who played at Incarnate Word, won 4 state championships with Incarnate Word, and ended up going to Indiana as a freshman. Started almost every game as a freshman, and is now transferring to come play at home for Coach Kelly Harper. And they got a player to transfer in from Michigan, I believe. So, look, Kelly Harper's first year at Mizzou for women's basketball, they went and played in the WNIT or the CBIT or one of those tournaments. They didn't make the NCAA tournament, but you could see the building blocks for Kelly Harper as she's building this program. So they've got four. If I look at, they've got Natalia Hodge, who's a 4-star recruit, point guard from Knoxville, coming in. They've got Chloe Ford, a 6'4" center from Hoover, Alabama, coming in. So they've got a good recruiting class, and they're adding some transfers. So looking forward to Mizzou women's basketball as well. Now, I myself cover SIUE and SIUE women's basketball, the portal. They're working through all the portal situations now. And so I'm really excited to see what happens with them. But anyway, Mizzou basketball off to a great start in the transfer portal. And if, as a Mizzou fan, again, you've got a host of guards that can score. You got to add those supplemental pieces. You got to have wings who can shoot. You got to have wings who can drive. And you got to have some of those tough-minded rebounding wings. And they've got a couple of those coming in. So that's really good. I'm excited to see who they get to come in as the 5 for Dennis Gates' new offense to pair with Trent Burns, who's coming back. The 7'5" Trent Burns will be back next year. So that's kind of your Mizzou basketball update. Now, when you're talking about the Cardinals, we started off, I mentioned the Cardinals. Before we go to break, we're going to talk a little bit about this. I'm going to give you some numbers in their age, at age 24. When he finally got to the big leagues. Well, I shouldn't say finally. He started in the big leagues, basically. His name, I will not say until I read the numbers. Okay? Age 24. He was in AAA, hit 270 in 93 games, and he hit 19 home runs, a 270 batting average, 489 slug. He got called to the majors. And hit 179 with 4 home runs and 42 strikeouts in 27 games at age 24. At age 22, he was in single A. At age 23, he was in double A. And then triple A. And he hit 20 home runs at age 23. And then at 24, he made it to the big leagues. So he had college, because he was in college, playing in college, age 19, 20, and 21. And then at age 24, when he made it to the big leagues, in 27 games, he hit 179, 42 strikeouts. His age 25 season. So you're talking college ball at age 19, all the way up to age 25. His first big league season. 52 home runs, first full season, 52 home runs, 114 RBIs. Again, let me reiterate. Age 19, he was in college. 20, college. 21, college. Age 22, single A. 23, double A, then triple A. 24, triple A, then majors. 25, breakout season. Those are the ages. That was Aaron Judge. What I've said on this radio show for 2 years. By the way, it's not I told you so time yet. It isn't, because we got a long way to go. Where was Jordan Walker at age 19? Aaron Judge was in college. Walker at age 19 was in single A, drafted. Didn't go to college. Didn't get a chance to mature in college. First time away from home, he's playing professional baseball, age 19. And yes, I know everyone's like, plenty of players have done that. I know. Some mature right away. Some take longer. For Aaron Judge, he didn't get to the major leagues in his first full season till age 25. He didn't play professional baseball until he was 22. Jordan Walker, 19, single A, 20, double A, 21, triple A, and then the majors. 4 years earlier than Aaron Judge got to the major leagues in terms of age. And then we all know Jordan Walker's story from there. Up and down, struggling. Everyone thought he was a future star. Look, his first season at single A in 82 games, he hit .317, 14 home runs, slugged .548. So you were like, okay, he's a star. Had some struggles. Aaron Judge worked through struggles and slumps in college at 19, 20, 21. Jordan Walker is a professional at 19. He was thrust into the spotlight way earlier than Aaron Judge was. And admittedly, we all can admit it, struggled. Cardinals, let's be honest, Cardinals kind of messed with him a little bit. Oh, let's go back down and work on your swing. You need more launch angle. You've got to adjust this. You got to adjust that. And he's worked through all that. Now, how old is Jordan Walker? 24. What did I say for the last 2 years? Let's see what happens from age 24 on. Now, again, we are way, way, way early. As a matter of fact, we'll see what this looks like at the All-Star break. That'll be half a season. You know he's going to go into a slump. How does he adjust? What does he do to break out of the slump? Does it get in his head? Does he try to adjust this? Like, what now that Chaim Bloom and this new regime is in, how do they work with Jordan Walker going forward? 319, 373, 710. Before we go to break, do we have someone who has called in on the celebrity line?
Yeah, we have Mel from Melville.
Mel from Melville calling in.
Yes, Mel.
Wow, we don't usually take calls.
Well, yeah, but we're everywhere.
Oh, now that we're worldwide?
Yeah.
Let me talk to Mel from Melville. Mel, are you there?
Oh, Randy, I am a long-time listener, third-time caller. How are you this morning?
You're a third-time caller?
Third-time caller. I believe it's my third time over the course of your mulehole career. I just love myself some mulehole.
Well, luckily you're saying that to me on the air and not somewhere else out in public. Mel from Melville, how are you doing?
I am great. I am enthused by this Jordan Walker. Jordan Walker, I saw him out in the wild last week. My wife and I, we were over there in Columbia, Illinois. We were doing some taxes and stuff, and we stopped by one of the local establishments, and in walks Jordan Walker. And I tell you what, he lit up that restaurant. Every kid in there, every adult, every teenager, they came over. He took selfies. He was gracious. His energy, it was like the olden times, Randy. He was... I know he's hotter than a frying pan on a 108-degree day, but I'm telling you, it was great to see him just as a person, as a personality, and I have great hope for this Cardinals organization.
Mel, how excited now the crowds have been kind of sparse down at Busch Stadium. Mel, have you been going to the games?
I've been to one.
Oh,
I like those green seats.
Well, Mel, it's if you have the ways and the means, those green seats are fine. I myself am not in that stratosphere, but Mel, I'm happy to hear that you are.
I tell you what, being America's guest is one of the things I've perfected, Randy. I show up happy, I bring energy, and I leave it cleaner and shinier than what I found it.
Mel, the Cardinals, let me ask you, I don't want to get into, I'm not going to get into all the stats and stuff, but you saw Jordan Walker, and he couldn't have been nicer to the kids and everybody else in the restaurant. These are a fun bunch of young players to watch, aren't they? You get down there, you sit in the green seats, you see these young guys running around, bunting and sacrificing and stealing bases. It's like we're watching Whitey ball.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's 90 feet at a time, Randy. I mean, that's what I read this morning. Ollie Marmol's talking about, and our hitting coach, we're talking 90 feet at a time. It is. It's like Gary Templeton. Oh, not Gary. Ozzie Smith came over after that unfortunate incident of Gary. I was there, actually, as a young boy when Gary had that interaction.
Now, Gary didn't flip you the bird, did he? It was somebody else. Was it anybody you knew?
It was not. Those were the days I didn't have the access to the downstairs tickets. I was upstairs, sort of on the first base line, but I had a good perch. I could see him doing his nonsense, and I was a 13-year-old child at the time, and I thought, Papa, what's going on here? He goes, oh, Daniel, he just did some bad things, and I don't know if he's long for the Cardinals. And sure enough, I mean, I don't know if it was 48 hours later, he was gone.
Mel, let me ask you a question. What, since you haven't called in for a while, let's give everybody an update on what Mel is up to these days. You've been to a green seats game. Have you been going to those? Have you been going to those city football games?
Oh, you just hit on a sore spot.
Uh-oh.
I gave up my season tickets. I just can't cotton to how this organization is run. They keep signing the same slow-footed up top guys. We got to get some fast guys up top that press the action. I'm tired of just being a set piece team. So I gave up my season tickets, Randy.
Mel,
I didn't support it.
Mel, I gotta say, I know you are a big fan of the beautiful game and the city. Are you saying that you gave up those season tickets because the city games are not so beautiful?
They're not beautiful, and the organization isn't run very well. I mean, we fire our guy, and the next year he's the MLS coach of the year, and we're like five managers, coaches down the road already. We can't seem to get it together. So I just can't support it, Randy. And you know what? You know, the initial 18 months, 24 months of the honeymoon period, it's over. I can get online and get myself a ticket for less than the going rate. So if I want to go, I can just pick one up.
There you go. Now, I will say, City does such a fantastic job with game presentation. That stadium is beautiful. The food options are ridiculous. Everything's clean. I got to say,
completely agree.
I got to say, Mrs. Mulehole loves going to the City games.
It's the best. It's the best venue we got. We got it right. St. Louis did it right. That is the nicest venue. It's one of the nicest stadiums I've ever been in. I love going there. You're right. The food is good. And as far as stadium food goes, it's not that expensive. You get a little, I mean, it's expensive, but it isn't like crushingly expensive. And it's just so good and so varied. And, it's just a happy place. The egress is easy. Now, I can't figure out the parking. The parking's got me a little flummoxed. But other than that, I love that city, that Energizer Park, because there's not a better name for a park like that. Because when you walk in there, Randy, you know what you feel?
What do you feel?
You feel energized. You feel energized. So I'm telling you.
Well, I'll tell you, I skip all that parking, Mel, and you know why? I've told you this 100 times. I'm a
walk on down.
I'm a Metrolink
guy. Walk on down to your neighborhood Metrolink station.
Yes,
and boom,
I'm a
right
Metrolink guy. Boom, they drop me off right there at Union Station. I'm a hop, skip, and a jump away from Energizer Park. It is fantastic. Also, let me ask you this. Here's another question: Have you been to those Battlehawks games?
Nope. I got nothing really to say about those Battlehawks. I'll watch them. I'll watch them a bit. And it was exciting to see the kid that came in the other day, threw a couple picks, and then led us to victory. But nope, I haven't been down there.
No Battlehawks games for you.
I'm a loyal friend, Randy, and they did one of my friends wrong, and so I'm not going to support them. They did one of my friends wrong, and I'm not going to support that. I'll watch it, and I'll support my friends who support it, but I'm not going to do it.
Mel from Melville. He's a good bud. He's a good friend. Mel, I know you're also a big Mizzou guy. How do you feel about?
Oh, yeah.
How do you feel about Mizzou football? How do you feel about what's happened in the portal and basketball? And by the way, Mel, I know you're going to be upset about this. Kansas moved their game with Mizzou from Saturday to Friday night, and I'll put money on it, Mel. I'll put a milkshake on it that they moved that game to Friday night because they were afraid of the black and gold takeover on Saturday. That's why they moved it to Friday. Mel, that doesn't make me happy. There's a lot of good, hardworking folks that aren't going to be able to get to that Mizzou-Kansas game now.
Oh, they'll call him sick. We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. The one thing concerning about Kansas is all that money they now have. All of a sudden they're going to be relevant, and I don't like that.
Well, they built their new football stadium. Looks like a soccer stadium. Nothing wrong with that, but it is. It's not what you would call a premier college football facility. I'm looking forward to seeing it. You know, I'll be there. But
you will.
I do not like that. I do not like that move to Friday night. And I do think, I'm telling you, Mel, and you know, as a Mizzou guy, I bleed black and gold. And you know, I think that those Kansas folks there, they were like, we're going to move this thing to Friday night. We're going to try to discourage the black and gold from taking over our stadium.
That's why we need you in the weeds like this, Randy, to give us that type of perspective and insight. Because I had not thought one thing like that. I thought, it could be a good nationally game. But you get down there in the weeds and you pick it out. I like that.
Oh yeah, they're nervous. Mel.
All right, I gotta go.
Yeah.
I'm a public servant, as you know, and I gotta get going. But I'm just thankful to be able to serve the public and celebrate our national championship this past year. And life is good.
Oh, I know you're still glowing from that Indiana victory. And Mel from Melville, thank you for calling in. You always add a bit of class to my show.
Made my day, Randy. I'll see you.
All right. That's Mel from Melville joining the show here today, calling in on the celebrity line. And he doesn't call in very often, but when he does, he gets everything riled up. I like Mel from Melville. Well, we're late for a break. We're going to take one now. You're listening to The Mole Hole on KXOK and KWRH. My name's Randy Bowman. We'll be back to talk more Cardinals right after this.
El Potro Restaurant and Market, located at 6922 Manchester Avenue, 1 block east of McCausland, offers the finest variety of Mexican and Central American groceries and goods. El Potro Restaurant serves authentic Mexican and Central American cuisine, including daily specials, not to mention the best horchatas and tastiest margaritas in St. Louis. Open Tuesday through Sunday. El Potro, 6922 Manchester Avenue, 1 block east of McCausland. Find them online at elpotrostl.com.
Jewels on Hampton in St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks, sports memorabilia, and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa. Call them at 314-752-5000. 314-752-5000. Jewels on Hampton.
It's St. Louis City SC Soccer in Spanish on 1029 KXOK. Don't miss a moment of the action. And for more information about St. Louis City SC Soccer, visit KXOK.com and click on the St. Louis City SC Soccer logo. Santiago Beltran and Hector Vega bring you all the exciting play-by-play action every game in Spanish, right here on the Spanish Sports Voice of St. Louis, 1029 KXOK.
Thanks again to friend of the show, Mel from Melville, who called in right before the break. Always good to hear from Mel. He doesn't call in very often, but when he does, When Mel called in, I was in the middle of an I told you so discussion about Jordan Walker. By the way, again, I'm going to say this in all seriousness. We are a long way from me sitting here patting myself on the back because Jordan Walker has become a superstar. Okay, we're a long way from that. He's got to prove over a whole season, and probably superstars aren't born in one season, right? Like it's multiple seasons. Albert Pujols, his first season, everyone was like, oh my gosh, this guy's going to be great. And then he had to put together a couple of seasons before you were like, he's a superstar. We're a long, long way away from that with Jordan Walker. But the comparison I made before the break, Aaron Judge, and again, please don't misinterpret. I don't want people, texting me or on the posts I make on social media going, oh my God, you're comparing him to Aaron Judge, a Hall of Famer. All I'm comparing is the trajectory. Okay. I'm not saying Jordan Walker is going to be Aaron Judge. There's no other Aaron Judges. What I'm saying is there was a trajectory. Aaron Judge could make mistakes, learn, mature at 19, 20, 21, away from home for the first time. When he was in college, he had a support system. He wasn't yet a first round draft pick with a huge following and a lot of pressure. That didn't happen until he got drafted. And then he was 22 in single A, 23 in double A, 24 in triple A, and then got to the majors at the end of his age 24 season. And then his first big full season in the majors was age 25. Jordan Walker isn't 25 yet. And everyone expects him to be a superstar right now. He was drafted at 19. Had a spotlight on him at 19. That's a lot of pressure. And some kids, it takes a while. And again, I'll mention it again. This is because I said this before the break and before Mel called in. Jordan Walker, I believe the Cardinal organization messed with him a little bit and told him to change things. Because, folks, I want to remind you, in his first season in A-ball, he hit .374 with over an 1,100 OPS. In his first season in high A, he hit .292, slugged almost 500. In his 2 seasons in double A, by the way, at age 20, .295, slugged 501. He was ascending. He was producing. And he got to the majors and struggled, hit a wall. Same at AAA. That's when he was going back and forth, started getting into his head a little bit. He's now a 24-year-old, much more mature, young player who is off to an unbelievable start. And let's put this start in perspective. I think, if I remember this correctly, only Mark McGwire had as many home runs at this point in his first 18 games as a Cardinal than Jordan Walker. He's already hit 8 home runs in 8 games. He hit 6 all of last year. This is an amazing turnaround. But what will separate Jordan Walker and what will let us know that he's arrived and he has matured and he is poised for this breakout season is when he slumps. He's going to slump. They all slump. Every player goes into a slump. He's going to slump. How does he react? How does he break out of it? Does it get in his head? Is it prolonged? The 8 home runs in and of itself is not what impresses me so far about Jordan Walker. He's hit 2 of them opposite field to right center, a couple of them to straightaway center field. Half of his home runs are not pulled. They're dead center or right center. That's a guy who is starting to understand hitting at this level. That's what encourages me the most about this start, is his ability to hit the ball up the middle and to the opposite field with power. So, again, I'm going to guarantee all of the listeners that at some point, if this continues, you're going to get a whole lot of mole backslapping on this show. I'm going to be like, oh, yeah. Because for 2 years, this is all I've been telling people on this show. Stop worrying about Jordan Walker. Let's get him into his 24, 25, 26 age seasons and see where he is. Because he was drafted out of high school, didn't get a chance to mature, spotlight on him early, a lot of stuff to deal with other than the baseball. And let's see how he is when he's matured. And so far, so good. But we're only 18 games in. We got a long way to go before I'm in backslapping mode and self-congratulatory mode. But let me talk about the rest of this Cardinals team. Before the season started, I had Michael Langston on. I had Andy Carroll on. You and I talked, Mark Langston, who's here in the booth with me. We talked about how we had no expectations. But if you look up and down the batting lineup, this could be fun. Could be a fun group. Their oldest starting offensive player is Alec Burleson, and he's only 27. Ramon Urias is a veteran infielder that they signed kind of as a utility guy. He can play multiple positions. And I got to say, he's not hitting well, 212, but he's slugging 485, 3 doubles, a couple of homers, and he's good against lefties. So, you know, he gets some spot starts, which is good. But Mark, I don't know if you've noticed this. There's just so much more energy and positivity. We haven't seen this in 3 or 4 years. Look, we loved the veterans here. Goldschmidt, Arenado, Contreras. We loved those guys.
Right.
But they had and this is not a knock on them. Contreras was the fieriest of the 3. Goldschmidt was very even keel and calm. Arenado, very even keel and calm. These kids are laughing, jumping around.
Got fire in their belly.
Fire in their belly. The way they play the game is fun. Victor Scott has added the bunt to his arsenal because he knows with his speed, he can get on base that way. They're selfless. Matt Carpenter was a star here, but even keel. You know what I mean? These guys are jumping around, smiling. They're laying down bunts. They're moving runners over. I think they lead the league in sacrifice RBIs. They're playing baseball, and they're having fun playing it. And you can see it. The energy is there. They may end up winning 75 games, last place. But they're going to have fun.
Yeah.
And it's refreshing to watch.
I remember being a lifelong fan that the Cardinals did very well when they had a young, upstart kind of team, maybe a couple of veterans in there, but usually it's when they have those new guys that are just out there for the first time, like you say, just having fun, trying to figure out what they're doing. And they do well.
Yeah. And look, again, I don't want anyone to think that I'm being Pollyanna here. If you look up and down the lineup, we talk about J.J. Weatherholt and how exciting a player he is.
What a great player
he's hitting 227. He's not tearing the cover off
the
ball, but he's getting on base. 12 walks, 14 strikeouts.
When it counts, I think. Seems like when it counts, he's there.
Yeah. And 3 home runs, hit a couple the other day. Pajes is hitting only 206. Mason Wynn's hitting 188. But guess what Mason did yesterday? Nathan Church misplays a ball. It goes off the fence. Church picks it up, fires it in to win the cutoff man, and he throws a strike to home plate to gun a runner out at home. So he's hitting 188, but he's doing the things defensively to keep his team in a game. Ozzie Smith was not the greatest offensive player. He got himself to be a better offensive player as his career went on, but Ozzie Smith helped the team on defense, and that's what Mason Wynn's doing. Nolan Gorman's only hitting 208. I know people are, he's 19 strikeouts already, and he's hitting only 208, and Nolan Gorman is what Nolan Gorman is. He's going to go through stretches. He's 26 now. He's going to go through stretches where he dominates and he hits for power. He's going to go through stretches where he struggles. He's an up and down. He's a streaky player. Nathan Church was not hitting until the last couple of games. Victor Scott's hitting 255, but he already has 3 steals. Walker is carrying this team from a power perspective. Ivan Herrera, who everyone was like, oh my God, this is our best hitter now. He's hitting 194. These guys aren't tearing the cover off the ball. They're finding ways to win games. Herrera, by the way, has walked 18 times already and only struck out 10 times. All right, so he's not hitting the cover off the ball. He's getting on base. These guys are playing selfless, fun, exciting, small ball when necessary, defense, and they're fun to watch, man. I'm telling you. They're fun to watch. They may win 75 games. Now, what you hope is, look, Lars Nootbaar isn't even back yet. So, and Nootbaar stuff. That guy's always played with a fun, energetic, bubbly style. You add him to this mix. And Nootbaar is kind of a veteran now in this group, right? So you bring him in. Now, you look at the pitching. Hasn't been great. Dustin May has been better his last 2 outings. He was terrible his first 2. Liberator has been pretty good, but not outstanding. Michael McGreevy had that great opening day start. He's been good, and he's 25. Andre Palante, great opening start, hasn't been great since. Kyle Leahy, still mixed reviews. He's getting used to being in the rotation. He was a bullpen guy. But you look at it, speaking of bullpen, Riley O'Brien, 5 saves, 10 1/3 innings, and he hasn't given up a run yet. Jojo Romero, 9 games, hasn't given up a run. Grisefo's been pretty good when called upon. Soriano has been decent. He's got to limit the walks. But Stanek hasn't been great so far. Brule hasn't been great so far. Swanson. So when you look up and down and look at these numbers, you say to yourself, how are they 10-8? They're 10-8 because they're getting key hits at key times. They're getting runners in scoring position. They're moving runners. They're playing defense. And they're young and energetic and fun. And by the way, when you're young, you don't know any better. You don't know that you're supposed to lay down. Oh, everyone said we were going to be terrible. These young guys don't care about that. They're young and talented, and they're having a good time. And by the way, these offensive numbers are going to go up, and some of these poor pitching numbers are going to get better. So I'm just as excited, if not more, after the first 18 games. So the interesting thing will be, and this is a long way off, but if you're looking ahead, Lars Nootbaar, Alec Burleson at age 27 are those guys, and Ramon Urias, who we signed, he's 32, and if he continues to hit lefties well, you're looking at 3 older not really, but older on this team, players that could have some value at the trade deadline. So if you're Chaim Bloom, are you going to move? Because if you look at a long-term core, and that core would be Burleson, Weatherholt, Wynn, Walker, and Herrera, just as your top 5, let's say. That's a pretty good young nucleus. Notice I didn't say, I said Burleson, Weatherholt, Wynn, Walker, and Herrera. So notice I didn't say Nolan Gorman. I didn't say Lars Nootbaar. But if you take those 5 that I just mentioned and you say to yourself, all right, this is the core we're going to build around going forward, you still have players you can move. I think Victor Scott's part of the core, and I'll tell you why. Speed, defense, and center field. Again, if you're building a young team and you're going to play fundamental baseball, to have that speed and that defense in center field is huge with Victor Scott. And if you're batting him ninth, we used to talk about, I've been broadcasting softball for years. And in softball, they talk about that number 9 hitter is just as important as the number 1 hitter, because that's that second leadoff guy. And now that the designated hitter is in the National League, you can afford to have a number 9 hitter who could be your second leadoff guy. Victor Scott hitting in front of J.J. Weatherholt, and then Ivan Herrera or Ivan Herrera hitting second, or Walker hitting third, and then you've got Victor Scott hitting in front of those guys, batting ninth with that speed. Man, I don't know. I just plus they've got catchers in the minor leagues that are on the way. So in the next couple of seasons, I like Pedro Pajes. He probably won't be here. Pozo will not be here. So now you're looking at Jimmy Crooks, who has a cannon for an arm. I've been seeing highlights of him throwing out base stealers at Memphis. It's not close. He's gunning down base runners, and he's a good offensive player. And then you have another guy in Double-A that is going to be a future catcher. So the thing that does concern me, Mark, you mentioned at the top before we get out of the show today, a strike next year really kicks the momentum for a team like the Cardinals, who are young and in rebuild mode and kind of exciting, players on the way. And now you might have to deal with a strike next year, a lockout. Oh,
let's hope not.
For our sake. Like if we were on the cusp where we're at the end of a run and we had a bunch of veterans,
right,
that we could use that as a reset. That would have been kind of good. Not for an up and coming, rebuilding, exciting young team.
Mr. Bloom has his work cut out for him.
We're going to get into over the next couple of weeks some of these young players coming up in Memphis and in Springfield. And I'll have Andy Carroll back on too to talk about some of that, because he follows that closely down in Springfield. But they've got guys on the way too. That's the other exciting part. It's not like this is our roster, somebody gets hurt. Oh, no, we've got young guys ready, or at least working to be ready, that we're excited to see. So anyway, after 18 games, I'm pleasantly surprised and very excited about this brand of baseball and the youth and the energy that this team exudes. They're a lot of fun, man. And I don't care if they only win 75 games. They're a lot of fun to watch. All right. This has been the Mole Hole. Thank you for joining in. Thank you to Mel from Melville for calling in today. Surprise guest. Always love to hear from Mel. Every Thursday morning at 8 a.m., you can hear the Mole Hole. Thank you for tuning in today. And until next Thursday at 8 a.m. So long, everybody.